What is a Baselit lightsaber? So a Baselit lightsaber is a custom saber where the blade illumination comes from within the hilt itself. So what'll happen is there'll be an LED in the top of the hilt, and it's really pretty much like a flashlight, you guys. So if you remove the blade like that, you can shine it around, and that's where the blade illumination comes from. So you can kind of see that if you look in there when it's off, of course, you can see the LED. So with these Baselit lightsabers, it used to be more common, like some companies would refer to these as in-hilt LED lightsabers, or that would be kind of the setup they would talk about. But it does seem like Baselit has become sort of more favored terminology in recent years. Now, Baselit saber, since all the illumination comes from the hilt itself, it uses a very basic tube blade. So the blade can just, literally be pretty much a polycarbonate tube. And sometimes companies will have blade film on the inside, and that just kind of helps diffuse the light throughout the blade so that you have sort of a more even illumination. Otherwise, if you don't have blade film, it usually kind of darkens toward the end, because it's farther for the light to travel, right? So by the time it gets to the end, it doesn't light up quite as much. Now, Baselit sabers are becoming, I don't know, like pixel sabers, you guys are really starting to edge out the Baselit sabers a bit. Although Baselit sabers do still tend to be more affordable, so that's definitely a nice part about them. And, they're very basic, so sometimes people will just kind of be like, oh, they're just like flashlights as sort of a negative, but the simplicity of them is also sort of a positive, right? Like, especially if you just have a very basic flashlight thing where you don't even have a soundboard in it. If you have these stunt sabers without sound, it's very simple, very elegant, but there's less to repair and all of that too. So they can be really good for stunts and that type of stuff. And just the fact that the blade is just kind of a basic tube blade, it makes them more affordable to, replace the blade and just have several of them on hand. So that's kind of a nice part. Now, some of the drawbacks of the Baselit sabers is you don't get a lot of the cool blade effects that you can get with pixel sabers. So pixel sabers will have LED contained, or pixels contained within the blade itself, and that's how they illuminate. And that means that the pixel sabers can have these different effects. They can do blaster bolt deflect, they can do rainbow blades in some cases, flame blade effect. So they can do all these really cool blade effects. And with these Baselit sabers, you're a lot more limited. So even, for example, when you turn on a Baselit saber, everything turns on at once. Whereas some of the pixel sabers have that kind of scrolling effect where you can see the light kind of roll out until it reaches the end of the blade. It adds some realism, looks pretty cool. So yeah, some of the main pros of the Baselit sabers are their simplicity and how you can use these very basic tube blades. And some of the cons are you're a bit more limited with some of the blade effects and that type of thing. But what do you guys think? What do you think of Baselit sabers? Or are you totally on the pixel saber or NeoPixel saber train at this point? Because